So flimsy. Hey, what's going on out there, everyone? I know I'm going live here on everything for Gibson, so huge shout out to you guys. Also over here, I'm going live on Instagram. I got to tighten up my little phone tripod real quick, you guys. So anyway, let me fix that for you. I know it's, there we go. The pressure. All right, should be better. I think that's better. All right, sorry. So anyway, huge shout out to Gibson. Yeah. Marty Schwartz here, actually. And I want to thank Gibson for having me for this live stream. Going to specifically talk about creating and being able to play bar chords and, you know, tips that make it easier. So that's what we're going to do. But first, I want to talk about the fact that I'm jamming this on this brand new Gibson Acoustic right here. It's a G45 standard. So if you look at it, it's got that classic spruce top. And then the backs and the sides, I believe, walnut. And, you know, this is one closer to the more entry-level price for Gibson Acoustic. So anyway, it's a great guitar. I just got my, just got it into my hands, and it's nice and shiny. So hopefully it doesn't blind you. And yes, it has the fresh smell. All right. So also over there, what's up, Instagram? Sorry for the camera angle, but you guys can let me know now that the camera angle looks better. You know what? Phones make funny cameras. You know, when you've got the little, like, okay, cool. You got the little tripod, you know, and then it like dipped down right when I was supposed to go live. So anyway, that's the way it goes. But I'm also, you know, we've got some friends here that are helping, you know, go through the comments and help moderate. So if you have any important questions or, you know, things that you're trying to get better at guitar, please, you know, let us know in the comments. And as important ones or interesting ones come up, hopefully I can help you guys out with it. So once again, shout out to Gibson. And this is the G45 standard. It's got a nice, nice sound to it. I'll try not to blind you with the lights. Okay, cool. Instagram, how's it going out there, you guys? So I want to talk about bar chords. You know, that's what we're here for. And so I want to take probably the first bar chord that you're going to see, you know, as you progress on guitar, you're playing like cowboy chords or the open chords first, you know. come across B minor, I think, first. So like you could take a D chord and then A major, and then a B minor fits really well with that. And so the concept of the bar chord is that it's like your index finger is like the capo, and then you're playing one of those open shapes that you learned first, hopefully. So the tips that I taught guitar with private students for many years before YouTube even existed. Okay, cool. We got some comments coming in. That's great. Okay, so anyway, I was saying I've taught a lot of guitar before I ever, did YouTube or videos or anything like that. So I really, had tried with individual people to get them playing bar chords. So the one thing is, if bar chords are challenging, you have to kind of, and I still do this with things I'm learning, you have to play the bar chord where it like sounds bad first, right? Because it has to sound bad when you first start to then get a little better. A lot of people want that instant gratification where they just, on the first try in a song, and it doesn't work that way. You got to like force your hand and kind of have it bad and then get to the other two chords that you know well. But in other words, you have to face it and play it bad for it to improve. So avoiding it is not the right way to get it. And I remember myself, I knew the open chords really well, and then someone would show me a song and I'd see one of those bar chords and be like, okay, yeah, show me another song. I'm not ready for that, right? So that's one thing to think about, is that you don't want to avoid them, and you have to play them where they don't sound great at first. So now the mechanics of it, now there's components to the bar chord that are different than the open chords. One of which is you're pressing your index finger down, which seems really like, with a lot of strength, where it's like covering the whole fret of the guitar like that. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is the shape itself. So the B minor chord has the second fret bar and then the A minor shape with the rest of my fingers. So it's like taking an A minor chord and moving it up a whole step. And so what you want to do is, first, the tip that has helped a lot of people is, I say, take your elbow, that's with your left hand, your strumming hand, take your elbow and push it up against your rib cage. Now watch what happens to my hand when I do that. My fingers become more parallel with the frets. So to immediately put your hand into a more proper position. A lot of open chord playing, your hand might be out like this at first for comfort, or your fingers are kind of tilted. But if you go like that, think elbow to the rib cage, all right? Really helpful thing. Next, what you want to do is you want to take the bar chord and press it down the bar first, then form the shape of the chord. And then play it. And, you might have some buzzing notes and stuff. Right? And so then you want to look down and see which little spots, play the notes. And find the ones that aren't ringing out and then take a look. So, elbow to the rib cage. When you're playing the bar chord, do the bar first, then the shape, and then play the chord and make the adjustments you need. Then next time, play the shape first, then the bar, and play it. So what you're doing is you're deconstructing elements of the chord and then putting it back together. And you will get the muscle memory quicker doing it that way, or I've found it to really, really help. So, B minor, here's what you do. Elbow to the rib cage, finger to the bar, and then the shape. Play the chord, fix whatever needs to be fixed. Next time, the shape first, then the bar. Then the next time, take the whole chord and put the whole thing down and try that. So you're adding variables to the muscle memory practice. The next thing is take the shape and try and keep it, and take your hand off, keeping the shape, and it's not going to be perfect, and then put it back on and play it again. So those are all tips that I have found getting people playing them. Also, if you put a capo up higher up and you have a like a chord that has 1 or 2 bar chords in it, the higher up you go, the less pressure you need on a bar chord. So that's another way to kind of get yourself playing them. Also, there's always a power chord underneath a bar chord. So that bar chord has the... So if you're used to playing power chords, you can think of it as hitting that power chord like a Nirvana chord. And then starting to create the bar around that concept as well. So I'm going to, in a few minutes, I'm going to go back and just recap the main tips for the bar chords. But I do have some questions here that I want to see. Starting with Velcro Hair from Instagram. Once again, what's up, Instagram? Sorry for the crooked Batman angle there for a second. But anyway, hope you're doing well. Any tips to reduce string buzz when playing in half-step down tuning on acoustic? Well, as far as technique, playing technique, the closer your fingers are to the next fret up, mechanically, the cleaner of a tone of a string you're going to have. The other thing is you want to look at each individual finger and see what's going on that's adding to the buzz. Now, I know you're talking about down tuning, which does create a certain amount of buzz. But guitars do buzz a little bit. Like even like perfect guitars have little elements of buzz and imperfection. So there would be possibly another aspect of you maybe putting, if you like to detune, you could put like some thicker gauge strings on. That actually might help as well. Okay, some more tips. And thank you, Velcro Hair. Brian from Facebook, he says, Marty, love you, man. Can you go over good blues chord progressions I can practice? Always. And Brian, thank you for the comments. You're interested in some blues chord progressions. It's a good idea. Dylan from Facebook wants to play guitar, but you haven't started. What kind of guitar should I get? Oh, that's a really good question. Well, we're sitting here doing a Gibson stream right now, and they have so many amazing levels of guitar to choose from. So right off, you want probably a good starter guitar. If you're more interested in acoustic guitar, then I would recommend you getting a nice entry-level acoustic. I mean, this is the G45 standard, and so then they have the other G45, but they both have pickups and they play amazing, like the action, the amount you have to press down. They're great for that. But it's also going to be your, what your budget is. So there's things to consider. Also, if you're more into like rocking, if you want to rock electric guitar, I don't personally, as a guitar teacher, think you need to get an acoustic first before electric. So if you're more into electric, obviously there's a lot to choose from Epiphone all the way up to a Les Paul. So, lots to choose from. But I mean, we're sitting here streaming from the premier guitar company, so it's got to be some kind of Gibson. Let's see, Rob from Facebook. You have trouble playing bar chords on the 12 string. Well, I mean, they are. It's just gonna be harder because you just have less real estate. But it also, if you got these little stubby little fingers like mine, it's hard to play them even on a 6 string. So, but all the same, tips I talked about earlier apply. And, you know, to get clean tones from the string, the very tips of your fingers, the more you can kind of arch your fingers and get the very tips, the cleaner the chord's going to be. But also there are variables with the action of the guitar, what kind of 12 string, you know, I mean, there's a lot to choose from there. Darren from Facebook, what are the best, easiest books for learning foundations of guitar music theory? I'm not sure of books per se, but, you know, in this day and age, there's so many resources to learn from. And I mean, if you've been out there watching YouTube, you've seen all kinds of different perspectives. Really, I would search around. I don't have a favorite one to recommend. Luann, I believe, she broke her index finger a few years ago and struggles with bar chords. Any tips? Oh man, yeah. Well, one thing is you can really start to focus on the shape part of it, because what do you say? You broke your index finger. So you can think about the chord shape more than what the index finger requires. The other thing is, like, even with a B minor chord, if I just use the tip of my index finger, hopefully you can use the tip of it, I can play this B minor pretty good without barring the whole neck, just hitting that note, and then the shape with my other fingers, and then my palm can kind of just mute that high E. So that is one thing to do. Another thing with the index finger in particular is you want it to be the side of your finger right there, not the padded part, but the kind of hard ridge part. So work with it, give it a try. I don't know the physical limitations on your index finger, but you can get it on there. Okay, yeah. So this G45, this is the standard. This retails for $12.99. There's another G45 that retails for $9.99, and with both guitars, you get, you know, a really high quality instrument, and they both actually have pickups as well. So you can plug them through an amplifier or record them directly into a system. And I believe that this is the standard for $12.99. The G45, that's $9.99. I believe you have a little bit different top. Is the big difference between them, but they both have pickups and walnut sides and back. And I know for, you know, this one right here, the spruce top, like on all the Gibson acoustics. Let's see. Sorry to Luann for breaking your index finger. Okay, Lanes from Facebook said, the elbow to the rib cage thing is a revelation to me. Thank you. So you're welcome. Oh, right. Okay, so the G, thank you. I'm going to talk about that. But the elbow to the rib cage, right? So you're talking about efficiency of the body. Another thing is like the concept, and I believe my friend Justin Sandrico, if you guys have seen him, amazing guitar teacher out there, we've done a few clinics together, and I believe he, you know, bar chords is a big topic for guitar players that are trying to get, you know, past that plateau. That's kind of like one of those classic challenges to overcome. And he talked about also the concept of like pulling back, like, you know, you're holding the body, right? And you're just pulling back a little bit, just adds a little more strength. Another thing about bar chords I want to throw in there is the classic E minor shaped bar chord. So for like an F sharp minor bar chord right here, you'd be barring, you know, the second fret, and then it's an E minor shape. This is a great bar chord. You can take your middle finger and reinforce your index finger. Oh yeah, so this is the G45 standard. So one of the things you see, the inlays, these are like star inlays, and on the studio version, which is $9.99. So this is the standard. The studio version has dot inlays. So get, you know, basically a few little differences, and they're both great guitars. Great guitars to learn on. Okay, Sandy from Facebook says this is a very controversial topic, not really, but she's talking about the F chord. Yes, the F bar chord is one of those pesky chords that you see a lot when you're playing open chord songs, and then boom, they throw that one on you. One of the things that's a challenge about it is that it's, you know, way back here on the guitar. And so the farther back you go, the wider the frets are, and you need a lot of tension right here. But I really like, I don't know, I guess you could call it the folk F chord, or the open version of the F chord. I like it a lot because the fingering is the same, almost the same as the bar chord, but without the bar. And all you have to do is eventually get your index finger across the whole thing. So I like this F a lot. And I want to, oh yeah, okay. This is Sandy on Facebook. So yes, the F chord, I like this F chord a lot. Take the ring finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the A string. And then take the pinky and put that on the 3rd fret of the D string. And then middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G. And then index on the 1st fret of the B. So it's almost like kind of like a fat C chord. Now for now, I'm letting my thumb's just kind of resting on the E string, so it's getting muted out. And also my index finger, which is on the 1st of the B string, it's pretty much muting out the high E between my palm and my index finger. And so the only thing you're really missing between this and a full F bar chord is the low E string and the high E string. So you can, as you're trying to get better at that, you can play this kind of F instead. C, G, F. And so the cool thing about that F chord is if I just take my index finger off, I can start practicing at least. You can see there's nothing else that is changing from that difficult F bar chord to this F folk chord. So I think that's a nice transition. So I would recommend that, Sandy. And then I'm getting my moderators are writing in comments to me, you guys, and you know, lots of love coming in, which is nice to hear. I really do appreciate the continued support, and you know, I do want to shout out again to Gibson for having me here. You know, being a little kid and watching like Slash on MTV play, you know, a Les Paul, and dreaming of playing guitar. You know, you don't imagine, you know, working with companies like that your heroes worked with. So I want to thank them a lot, and I want to thank you guys for watching. And hopefully the bar chord tips help. You know, I mean, most of you probably or hopefully, you know, see my thing, Marty Music. Got lots of education content over there. I'm sure most of you have seen it if you're trying guitar. Some people say I'm like a bad penny. Okay, this is cool. Two different great questions. Gregory is curious about playing guitar and singing at the same time. And a quick tip for that, there are some great YouTube videos on that. I've made a couple myself. But one thing is finding the lyrics, knowing the actual lyric where the chord is changing, right? So, you know, I don't want to play like any famous song right now to talk about it, but, you know, like if it was like Scooby-Doo-wah, Scooby-Scooby-Doo-wah, Scooby-Doo-Dee-ba-Doo-bo. You know, you learn that the bow is where it changes to D, or that the lyric is bow chord change. So you can slow, you know, if you have a way to like a program or something to slow a song down, find the lyrics where the chord changes, and that will help you a lot. And then Rachel from YouTube, and hope you guys are doing great out there. Thanks again. Rachel wants to know some good beginner songs to learn to practice bar chords, specifically E. Oh, the E shape, maybe. Well, you know, my mouth's getting a little dry from all this chit chat. Cheers, everyone. I hope everyone has a great weekend. This is Friday night right now, for me anyway. Okay, good beginner songs for bar chords. I would say Hotel California is a good one because it's a mix of bar chords with the classic open chords. Now, I'm not going to dare, you know, play through it in this particular live stream, but that's a great one for you know, for those bar chords. There's songs like, trying to think. I like the songs that have like one bar chord. Songs that are off the top of my head. Maybe some people, you're on YouTube, Rachel. Maybe some people can chime in with some songs that have been great for them. But Hotel California came to mind because it's got a couple of bar chords and then a couple of classic open chords. But I'm not going to play it. Chris from Facebook. Tips for strengthening your fingers for bar chords. Well, it goes all the way back. Maybe you weren't watching earlier, but I definitely recommend doing bar chords where you do the bar first, then form the shape. So B minor, bar, shape, strum. Next time, shape, then bar, then strum. Next time, try to do the whole thing together. Strum, elbow to the rib cage, a little bit of a pullback motion for more pressure. And so the more mechanically you're doing it right, the less strength and pressure you need. But you also have to just play it where it kind of sounds bad at first and chug through it, and it gets a little less bad, then, hey, that kind of sounds decent. Then, hey, that sounds good. Then, hey, I can't believe I ever struggled with bar chords anyway. They seem so easy now. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't this funny? How silly of me. Do you have... sorry. I was going to go off on a whole bit, but I changed my mind. Okay. Instagram. Itai from Instagram. You want to learn theory, but you don't know where to start. Any tips? Yeah, for real. One, try and don't necessarily think of it as full on. Sorry, I keep looking at the Instagram camera as well, but think of, let's see, theory, where to start with theory. That was the question, where to start with theory. And I think if you were slowly quizzing yourself on knowing the notes on the fretboard, you know, being able to just know first E, A, D, G, B, and E. That would be the very first thing I think you should know for theory as a guitar player. Then being able to know that E to F's a half step and B to C's a half step. From there, then you should be able to then count your way up on any of the open strings and find any note anywhere. For instance, if I wanted to find a G sharp on the B string, you should be able to go B, C, D, E, half step to F, whole step to G. The note I was looking for was G sharp, so it's 1/2 step higher than that. So in other words, you're calculating how to do it before you memorize it, but knowing the notes up and down the neck really well is going to really, really help. That's what I wish I had done a little more of. And then studying the major scale and the key of the major scale, what a key is, and the major scale and the chords of the major scale. And then also being able to know all the notes on the guitar. That's just a starting point. Okay, Gene from Facebook says, what are your thoughts on in-person lessons versus online lessons? You're always going to learn more from a good one-on-one teacher. Not a bad one. I gave up guitar when I was 13 years old because I had a bad guitar teacher. So I'm not saying, it's not one or the other, but a good guitar teacher, I think, is always going to be better than online sources or videos, only in the sense because they're good. And they're going to figure out how you learn, and they're going to figure out what your goals are, and they're going to figure out how to get you there. And it's a one-on-one mentorship kind of thing. I used to really enjoy doing that myself. So that is always going to be better, but we are in an amazing time where we have just unlimited information out there. So by all means, seek out the information online. And if you do find a good teacher, it's only going to be a bonus on top of that. I've taken lots of guitar lessons, because I had to learn guitar before, or I did grow up learning guitar before the internet. So I had great guitar teachers. So, and I also cherish the relationships that I had with my guitar teachers. Actually, my main guitar teacher from college, especially, I'm still in touch with him. So anyway, Jesse from Facebook. Trouble with my hands sweating a lot while I play. Well, let me tell you something. When I started this live stream and my Instagram camera went flip-flop down and I'm streaming for this amazing company, Gibson, I started to sweat. But it looked like it worked out okay. Man, different people have different levels of sweat, different levels of acid in their sweat. I don't know. I would have a little towel and just dry your hands off. I don't think there's anything bad about it or wrong with it. I'm sure tons of guitar players have that. Tim from Facebook says, tips for learning the fretboard. Get the basic chords at the top of the neck, but can't figure out other chords around the neck. Well, I would definitely seek out the caged system. And then also what I was talking about earlier is know the open strings, and then you just climb up the alphabet, and then you'll start to eventually memorize them. A good starting point is when in the olden days before everyone had tuners everywhere, we'd tune our guitars like this. And that's, finding the A on the E string to make it line up with the open A string. So right away I can memorize, it was probably the first thing I memorized was that fifth fret is an A note on the E string. So that means if I want to find a C on the E string, instead of me going E, F, G, A, B, C, I already now at least have A memorized, and I can count up from there. A, B, C. Oh, that's a C. C bar chord. So it's just it's a little journey. That's my answer. Now, Patrick says, would capos help with those struggling with bar chords? Capos can allow you to play a song that normally has bar chords. You can change the key of a song, or capos can do a lot of things, but you can get around having to play a bar chord with a capo. At some point, you're going to hit a brick wall no matter what, where you either just stay where you are, or to get better, you're going to have to face the bar chord challenge. Okay, I'm going to do one more question here, then we got to wrap it up. But I want to thank you guys again. Sunny from Facebook Is there a proper way to hold a pick, or is it up to personal preference? Well, it's got to, I mean, my answer is personal preference. You know, we obviously we lost Van Halen last week, and so I've been watching tons of footage, and he has all kinds of interesting, like, picking things that I've never done, where it kind of looks like he's more putting the pressure between his middle finger and his thumb. You see guys fan, you know, you see other guys where their fingers are barely moving. So I would say it's personal preference. Also, like, our anatomy, you know, everyone's hands are so different, right? So what might work for one person won't work because, you know, because of someone's hand. So anyway, that's my answer. All right. Okay, one more, because this is a good one. Well, this is one I relate to. Winston from Facebook says, does your thumb ever get tired for pressing on the back of the neck while playing bar chords? What am I doing wrong? I'm not doing anything wrong. I still get that. If I'm playing for a really long time with bar chords, my left thumb right here, right in the thick muscle, it gets, you know, it gets sore and painful. You can put lighter gauge strings on your guitar, and that will help. Might buzz out a little bit more if you use too light of gauge strings. But that is something, because a friend of mine that I played some gigs with, he was an R&B singer, and it was pretty much like all bar chords, like for like an hour set. It was like almost all bar chords. And so I've specifically bought lighter gauge strings for those gigs, because it was like bar chords all night and my hands were getting tired. So I just did that. But so you can try that. The other thing is, you know, when something's sore or tired, it just means, you know, it's getting stronger. So you just kind of, once again, it's about not avoiding the challenges, but just facing them, and they kind of sound bad at first and then they get better. So that's what I have to say. So anyway, we're going to wrap things up. I want to thank you guys, everyone that was watching on all the different platforms. Once again, Marty here from Marty Music. And just want to thank anyone that tuned in. Hopefully some of those tips helped you guys. Yeah, so we got Facebook, YouTube, Instagram over there. Just want to thank you guys all for spending some time. I hope these kind of back to basics tips helped you. I'm going to, you know, always going back to the basics and the fundamentals. And huge shout out and thank you to Gibson Guitars. It's been a great to work with them. And it's also really fun to know, you know, at least my aspect with this is, you know, teaching, trying to help people. So anyone that, you know, that got some new tips out of this, that is so awesome. You just got to keep doing it, and you will improve. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. So anyway, huge shout out, Gibson, and hopefully I see you guys again real soon. I'm going to take off and turn off my Instagram. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So if you did miss anything, or you came in late, the whole thing is archived on all the Gibson platforms. So you can go back to, I would recommend, you know, YouTube, probably go back there, and you'll be able to go over any of the tips that you might have missed. But anyway, thanks again, you guys. And we'll see you next time. I'm going to play